Okay, good morning, guys. So today we're going to continue our discussion on this worksheet, basic model. What we did last time was to create, construct the statement of cash flows. Okay, by way of quick review, we said that the statement of cash flows tells us of the sources and the uses of funds from operating, investing, and financing activities for a specific period of time. So what we need are the balance sheets of the current year and the balance sheet of the previous year and the income statement of the current year. If we have that, then we will be able to construct the statement of cash flows. So we start first with the net income after tax, and then we add back any expense that were deducted in the income statement that are non-cash, or and uh, and subtract any non-cash revenues that were added to revenues. Uh, that is to convert your net income after tax into operating cash flows. Okay, so this is already cash flow and it's okay because we're constructing the statement of cash flows. Okay, and then we went through the balance sheet. We have to know if a certain account falls under operating, investing, financing. For the assets, for example, uh, we're not going to include cash here because that's what we're going to look into the increase or decrease in cash, which should agree with our total here. Okay, 2250 here, 2250 here, so they tally. Okay, so that's our objective, to be able to identify where this came from, where these two uh, change in cash came from. So for the balance sheet, we said that short-term investments would usually go into financing. Okay, and the rest, short-term account AR, inventories, prepayments. Okay, this form part of our operating. Okay, and the general rule is that if assets increase, then it's a source of cash. And then for long-term assets like net fixed assets, that falls under investing. And what we should use is the fixed assets at cost. Okay, the difference, the change in the fixed asset at cost will be the total amount, source or use of cash in investing. If there's no cost at cost given, then we use the net fixed assets, but we have to compute for the actual acquisition. Okay, and then for the liabilities, okay, liabilities and equity, accounts payable, accruals, this form part of operating. Notes payable, interest bearing will fall under financing. And then an increase in liabilities mean a source of cash. Okay? And then we have to make sure that we include the dividends if there are any. Tally it. This will now be your net cash provided by operating, net cash used by investing. It's used because it's negative, and net cash used by financing. Okay, and then from there we can now construct our formal statement of cash flows. Okay, on one column we have here isolated the cash flow provided by operating, and then here investing, and then financing. Okay, and then we add them to get the net increase or decrease in cash. Add back the cash balance in the beginning, and then we get the cash balance at the end. So that's your formal statement of cash flows. Okay, are there any questions about this, guys? Any questions? Okay, no questions. Then let's proceed, guys. Today we're going to continue our worksheet. Okay, and then there are certain measures here like NOWC, net operating working capital, TOC, total operating capital, investment in TOC, NOPAT, okay, free cash flow, and then ROIC, and then we have MVA and EVA, market value added and economic value added. Okay, we're going to attempt to answer everything. Hopefully we can answer everything, but if not, then we will have a spillover, carry over into the next session, where we're going to use another workbook for our lesson. Okay, so let's go here now. Okay, By the way, there's another question here, the statement of retained earnings. I'm going to leave that to you guys for your exercise, and maybe next session we'll just compare. Kindly try to do the statement of retained earnings. That's very easy because you'll just identify what was the retained earnings at the beginning, January 1, and then what changed the statement of retained earnings. In other words, you have to plot from 90,000 to 99,938. How did this happen? Okay, so what will change retained earnings? You will have to include there the net income after tax, and then you'll have to include there the dividends, and then you'll be able to get this. Okay, remember last time we traced how we arrived at this from the beginning. Okay, what did we do to arrive at 99,938? Okay, I'll leave that as an exercise, and then we'll just compare notes next meeting. Okay, so by definition, guys, okay, let's start with the concept of working capital. Okay, oftentimes we see this term working capital. Okay, when we see this term, there are other books will define this differently. But let's, for purposes of uniformity, let's just define this as our current assets. Okay, so working capital referred to your current assets. So the net working capital is simply your current assets minus your current liabilities. Okay, so working capital is equal to current assets, and then your net working capital is the difference between your current assets and your current liabilities. Now we're going to define a related measure, which is net operating. Okay, the only difference is that this includes the word operating. Okay, so by definition, net operating capital is simply your operating current assets minus operating current liabilities. Okay, now what's the difference between current assets and operating current liabilities? As the name suggests, guys, it only includes those that relate to operations or operating. So let's compute for this. We're asked to compute for the net operating working capital for 2020 and 2019. Okay, so if you take a look at the balance sheet of Advanced Technologies, here you have your current assets. You have cash, short-term investments, accounts receivable, and inventories. If you're going to compute working capital, this should be your working capital, this 476,300, okay, because it's the sum of your current assets. And then if you compute for your net working capital, it should be your total current assets minus your total current liabilities. Okay, so just get the difference between the two. So let's reflect that here. Okay. So let me just write here net, why is it small? Okay, so our current assets is equal to 476, okay, and then our current liabilities is equal to 168. So if we get the difference, this minus this, okay, 308,288, that's your net working capital. Okay, ang difference, guys, ng net operating working capital kaysa sa net working capital is the exclusion of non-operating items. So if you take a look at this, sabi natin, ito operating to, ito hindi siya operating, okay? Ito operating, ito operating. So your operating current assets will be just the sum ng cash, comma, accounts receivable, and your inventories. Okay, so yun lang guys yung kasama dun sa operating current assets. Okay, and then our operating current liabilities will also just be the sum of ano yung mga kasama sa current liabilities natin. Accounts payable, accruals, notes payable, hindi kasama si notes payable. Ang kasama lang si accounts payable at saka si accruals. Okay, kasi sabi natin si notes payable, financing yan eh. Okay, walang control si operations yan. Okay, control enter. Okay, therefore, let me top and bottom. Okay, your net operating working capital is this minus this. Okay, okay. Can I copy this to the right, guys? Pwede ba natin i-copy to the right para makuha natin si 2019? Kasi magkadikit naman sila, no? They're adjacent to each other. Okay? So, pwede bang i-copy natin to the right? Chat please, guys. Yes or no? Tama ba kung i-copy natin to the right? I'll give you time. Okay, I'll give you a few seconds to first key in your answers worksheet. Okay, and then my question is, pwede ba natin i-copy to the right to para hindi na natin ita-type isa-isa yung formula? Okay, for example, ito kasi F20 sum F27, F29 to 30. Pag kinapi ko to the right, am I going to get 2019 operating current assets? Yes or no, guys? Paki-chat nga. Okay, thank you, Theo. Okay, the rest, guys. Tama ba na pag kinapi natin to the right? Okay. Roy, no. Okay. Yung iba? Kai, no. Okay, thank you. How about the others? Any comments? So the house is divided. Some of you say no, some of you say yes. Okay. Sige, so medyo magkakaiba yung answer natin, no? Okay, so let me try to do that. Everything, guys, copy to the right. Okay, let's check our formula. Tama ba to? So, yung operating current assets ba natin, is it the sum of G27 and G29 to 30? Okay, tama, no? For 2019. And then, let's see this one. Sum G36 to G37, tama din. Okay. And in dulo, tama din. It's a difference between operating current assets and operating current liabilities. All right, so we can copy it, guys, no? Pwede natin i-copy to the right siya. Okay. Oo, copy-paste lang. Or, pwede naman ganito, Roy, no? Once you highlight it, makikita nyo crosshair na yan, na itim, dun sa dulo. I can drag it to the right, copy it to the right, then we get the same. Para hindi na natin i-key-in yung mga formulas. Kung pwede natin i-copy, guys, yung mga formulas sa cells, so much the better because it's more efficient to do that. Okay, so we notice, guys, we see that net operating capital increased, no, by around 15 million from 2019 to 2020. Ibig sabihin, at the disposal of management is a net working capital amounting to 330,750 for 2020. Okay? Yan ang provide sa management ng company na operating capital for them to work on. Sabi natin, kailangan yung operating capital. Ano ba yung kasama ng operating capital? Yung cash, receivables, di ba? Inventories. These are necessary for the day-to-day operations ng business. Kung may prepaid. Kasama din dyan yung accounts payable, no? Etc. Okay, so operating working capital, yan ang pinaka-lifeblood din ng organization. Kasi kung walang operating capital, paano mag-ano yung business? Paano gagalaw, no? Operating yan inventory, di ba? Kung walang inventory, kunyari manufacturing, paano makakapag-generate ng sales? Okay, so that's very important, guys, no? Whether it's net working capital or net operating working capital, that's very important for a business. Okay. So, any questions so far, guys? Clear tayo dyan sa net operating working capital. Paki-chat naman, please, kung okay. Yes or no, please? Kung okay tayo. Okay, thank you. Yan, salamat. Okay, salamat guys ha. I appreciate you responding to my responses. Kaso hindi ko pa nakukuha lahat no. I hope that everybody participates talaga, no? If I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's just one-third. One-third lang yung nagre-respond. Hindi pa ako nakakuha guys from this class na 100% yung nagre-respond. Okay, would the others like to respond so far kung clear yung yung up to this point NOWC? For those who have not responded, thank you. Thank you. Okay, salamat guys Salamat. You know what guys, why I asked that? Kasi it means a lot to me na nakikita ko na na simple answer like that, yes, no? Ibig sabihin, you're getting it. Okay? Kaya it means a lot to me na nakikita ko na kung possibly nga 100% of the class responds. Ibig sabihin, you're there, okay? You're listening, you're there in the moment, participating. Okay. Sana yung mga next questions ganun, no? Okay, let's now go to TOC. Total net operating capital. You'll see in others, they'll name this TNOC, total net operating capital, or TOC. Pareho lang yun. Okay, so the formula for TOC is yung net operating working capital natin plus the net fixed assets. Okay, so we now have the net operating working capital. We have that, no? So what's our net fixed assets? We can get that from the balance sheet. Net fixed assets is this one. Okay, so we can now get the sum of this. Okay. And then again guys, since magkatabi naman sa balance sheet sa taas yung in 2020 at saka 2019. Okay. And then we can just copy the formula. Okay. All right. So that's our total operating capital for 2020 and 2019. Okay. Any questions? Any questions, guys? Okay. Wala kayo na-notice sa mga figures, guys? Anyone would like to raise something about the figures, something's strange about the figures? Wala kayo na-notice sa figures, guys? So, would you like to ask something about this, Kai? Ganyan ba lagi, Kai? Pareho ba si NOWC at saka si net fixed assets? Okay. Thank you, Kai. Okay. Guys, nagkataon lang yan kasi you might be surprised, why is it the same? Lagi bang ganyan? No. Nagkataon lang siya. No? In fact, the chances for this to be exactly the same is it's remotely possible. No? So, nagkataon lang guys na pareho yung ano nila, NOWC at saka net fixed assets. But it should not, there's no reason na dapat hindi sila. No? Possible din naman na mangyari pa, but that's very remote. I'm just pointing out that surprising na pareho sila. No? Exactly the same, NOWC, and for both years pa. Okay, so the probability of that happening is really, really, really very, very small. Okay? Kasi baka isipin nyo na pareho sila lagi. No, that's not the case. Okay, so what happened? TOC, total operating capital. In other words, guys, provide sa management itong total operating capital ng 661,500. Okay, capital yan provided by investors. Sino yung investors? Ang investors, si shareholders at saka si creditors. Okay, they provided capital in the form of stock ownership or debt, no? Sa management, sa company. Kaya ang tanong, anong gagawin yan ng company? Anong gagawin ng management? Okay? How did they perform based on this capital provided for them? In fact, capital increase, di ba? Nag-increase siya ng 31,500, no? In-increase yung operating capital provided to management. And that can be computed here. Our operating capital ng 2020, then operating capital ng 2019, okay? And then the difference, this minus this. Okay. That's what I mentioned a while ago. So yung investment in TOC, 31,500. Okay? Any questions so far up to this point? Clear ba up to this point? Okay, thank you. Thank you guys. Okay, salamat, no? So, tandaan natin guys, let's understand that total operating capital is capital provided to management, no? From investors, either shareholders or creditors. Okay, the question is, did management use this capital in order to create value for the stakeholders? Nag-create ba siya ng value para sa shareholders? Let's find out, no? Let's find out. So we measure now, we look at profitability. Okay, based on this operating capital na provide ng investors sa management, how did the management perform? How did the company perform? So this brings us to the concept of net operating profit after tax. So we will distinguish between net income after tax and net operating profit after tax. Yung net income after tax, alam na natin yan guys, no? Kasi nasa taas lang yan, no? It's just in the income statement. It's the usual way to compute for your income tax. For your net profit, no? So let's get it from EBIT first. Let's start from EBIT. Okay. So our earnings before interest and taxes is 99,200. Okay. Now, was there interest? Yes, my interest expense. Interest expense is 10,470. So that's our interest expense. Okay, so if we subtract may kulang tayo dito. Insert. Okay, sorry about this. Oops, sorry. Let me see. Dapat insert. Yeah. Okay, so our earnings before tax is just the difference between the two. Minus lang natin. Then we have here our tax. Our tax is equal to, i-copy na lang natin, but we know that it's 40% of your, okay, tax. And then subtract. Okay, so that's our net income after tax, which is the same figure which we can find in our income statement. 53,238, 53,238. Okay. Any questions so far, guys? Pareho lang to, ah. Okay, let me cheat a little bit, guys. Medyo magdadaya lang tayo ng konti, no? Okay. I'm going to copy this. If I copy this to the right, what we're getting is this one is now your net income after tax ng 2019. And I'm just going to transfer it here to net income after tax 2019. Okay. Any questions, guys, with what I did? You want me to repeat what I did, guys? Okay lang, naintindihan, guys? Did you see what I did, guys? Ang ginawa ko, kinapi ko lang to the right because what I'll get is net income after tax 2019. Pero dito natin kailangan yung net income after tax 2019. So, minove ko lang siya dito. Okay. Questions, guys? Questions? Okay. Looks like no questions. Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right. Sige. Okay. Let's now compute for your NOPAT. No? NOPAT. Anong kaibahan ng net income after tax sa net operating profit after tax? Okay. We again start with EBIT. Okay. EBIT natin, 99,200. Okay, 99,200. When we say net operating profit after tax, okay, so operating profit yan, guys. Ibig sabihin, we will assume that there's no interest expense. So zero out natin to. Bakit? Kasi take note, guys, ng interest, it's a role of financing. So walang hindi responsibility ni operations. Just imagine, guys, no? Kunyari ang EBIT natin 99,200. Tapos ang interest expense 1 million. Wala na. Kinain na yung operating profit, yung EBIT. Negative na lahat yan, di ba? So it's unfair for, parang sabi natin unfair for operations to be assessed based on interest expense na wala naman silang kinalaman doon. Okay? That's why we come up with this measure na NOPAT. And then we will be measuring yung operating profit. So i-discount natin, tatanggalin natin si interest kasi hindi naman sakop ni ni operations. Okay, therefore our EBT will simply be your EBIT. So pareho lang si earnings before tax kay earnings before interest and taxes kasi nga hindi natin i-charge yung interest expense kay kay management, no? Okay, so therefore our tax will be equal to this one times, hindi pa ba natin yung tax rate? Naturo ko na ba to, guys, yung giving names? Okay, sige, gawin natin yun, ha? Okay, what's our tax rate? Nasaan yung tax rate natin? Where is the location of our tax rate? Paki-chat, guys. Asan yung cell location ng natin, ng tax rate? Okay. Thank you, Roy. F48 yan. Thank you, Hans. Okay. Okay. Nasa F48 sila. No? And then we said before, guys, that it's not good, hindi maganda na minumultiply natin siya ng absolute. This is not good practice, guys. I-multiply natin ng absolute figure. It's best to set this in one place. Katulad nito, andito siya, no? Lagyan ko nga para kita natin. So it's here, yung 40% na to. Okay, yung iba, lahat ng mga absolutes, ilalagay nila kunyari sa taas, no? Okay, para doon nila i-refer. Tapos, you see, this cell has a name. No? Ang pangalan ng cell na to, anong pangalan ng cell na to, guys? It's F48. And saan natin makikita yung name na yan? Andi dito. Yan. And you call this the name box. Yan, name box. Kita nyo guys yung name box? I'm hovering around this portion of Excel, and then it says here, name box. Okay? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Roy. So, ang pangalan ng cell na to guys, F48. But we can change the name. Pwede natin baguhin yung name nito. So, I highlight this cell, and I don't like it to be called F48. No? I want it to be called, kunyari, tax rate. Okay, sa Excel guys, pag binibigyan ng name yung cells, use only one word. No? So, tax rate magkasama. If you want this to be separated, hindi pa pwedeng ganyan. Pag two words yan, automatically lalagyan ni Excel yan ng underscore. Okay? Kasi hindi pa pwedeng magbigay ng names na more than one word. Dapat one word lang. Tapos hindi natin pwedeng bigyan to ng pangalan ng ibang cells. Kunyari E48. Hindi natin pwedeng ilagay dito E48. Okay? Bawal 'yon, guys, kasi E48 naka-reserve na dito 'yan eh. Okay? Excel will not accept that. Okay, so yung mga names ng cells, hindi pwedeng gawing name ng isang cell. As I mentioned here, this is F48. We cannot name this as A1. Hindi pa pwede. So let's give it an intelligent name, tax rate. Okay? And there's an advantage of using that. If I go here, guys, yan. Tax rate. May pangalan na. Ang kagandahan nito, guys, you can go to other worksheets. Kunyari, dito tayo. Tapos kung kailangan mo yung figure na yun, you can just type is equal to T. A, yan o, lalabas yung tax rate. Arrow down, tab, enter, yan. Nakuha natin yung 40% yan. Okay? So it's tax rate. And this word tax rate will be, kahit saang worksheet ka, you can access this word na tax rate because it refers to this 40%. Okay, pause muna ako. Hindi, ito muna, tapos bago ako mag-pause. So we can now get the tax, guys, is equal to the taxable income multiplied by, sabi natin, I don't have to go to that cell. I just type T, no? Kasi alam ko tax rate yun eh. Tapos makikita natin, andyan siya. So these are the functions, and this is the name, no? Yung ano dun. Arrow down, and then tab. Yan. Okay? Control Enter. We get this. Alright, any questions so far, guys? Okay. Later on, magagamit pa natin yung anong yan, yung naming cells. Any questions? Paki-chat nga kung clear ba so far? Thank you, Soriel. Thank you. Josh, thank you. Crystal, thank you. Okay? Guys, appreciate ko. Sana biglang bumubuhos yung mga yes. Okay, and again, guys, reminder, please don't be ashamed to ask questions. Okay, I strongly encourage you. Environment of ano tayo, guys, safe yung environment natin. You will not be, we will not allow you to be, ostracized or to be made fun of by your questions. Huwag kayong mahihiya, guys. So, environment of fun tayo, tulungan tayo, okay? Tulungan tayo matuto. And I'm sure your classmates will support you in your questions. Okay, so thank you so much, guys, for your response. Okay, so we can now compute for our NOPAT. Ito yung NOPAT natin. There, that's now our NOPAT. Okay, let's look at this. Ito nga pala, guys, pwede natin i-copy to, no? Copy natin to the right dito. Tapos, we can transfer it here. Yeah. Okay, so ito na yung NOPAT natin for 2019. Okay, let's discuss itong NOPAT natin for 2020. Okay, let's analyze this. Okay. Now, if you take a look at this, guys, if you take a look at this, kasi yung interest expense natin, 10,470. 10,470. Okay. So you might be thinking, guys, dapat ang lamang ng NOPAT, ang lamang ni NOPAT sa net income after tax is 10,470. But if we inspect this, guys, ilan ang lamang ni NOPAT kay net income after tax? Okay, ilan lamang niya? So this is equal to this minus this. Okay? So 6,282, guys, no? 6,282. Yun ang lamang ni ano. Pero bakit hindi 10,470? 'Di ba kasi hindi natin sinama yung interest expense. So we might be expecting that the advantage of NOPAT over NIAT is 10,470. Now that's not the case because ano nangyari? Mas mataas yung tax ni NOPAT, no? Okay? This minus this. So ang tax niya 4,188. Okay, which brings us to sandali guys, may mga gumagawa kasi sa labas, no? Dali. Okay, sorry about that guys, may mga disturbance na kasi sa labas, no? May mga gumagawa. Okay, so interest. So sabi natin guys, 10,470, we might be tempted to think that ito yung advantage ni NOPAT over NIAT. Kasi nga hindi natin kina-charge yung interest for operating profit to measure operating profit. Kaso guys, may tax kasi, no? So lumalabas dito yung tax. Mas mataas syempre yung tax pag NOPAT kasi mas mataas yung taxable income natin, yung 99,200. Ito 88,730 lang. Okay, so what does this tell us now, guys? Surprisingly, guys, it tells us that may advantage, guys, yung pag-utang. Okay? Pag umuutang tayo, if we use creditor capital, it generates interest, and the interest, guys, has what we call a leverage factor. Okay, ang tawag dyan, leverage. No? Leverage. Bakit leverage? Actually, ang leverage, guys, di ba? Alam niyo fulcrum, di ba? Oops. Wala na palang space doon. You have a fulcrum here. Okay. Ang leverage, di ba? Pag binaba natin to, aangat to. No? So that's what a lever does. Okay, it increases actually, in a sense, profitability, no? To a certain degree, on a certain aspect. Okay, yun ang ginagawa ng debt, no? And nagkakaroon tayo ng well, what do we have? TS. What's that, guys? Ano to? Ano yung generate ng utang which has interest? What did it bear, guys? What did it provide? It provided, so this is what? Tax savings. Okay? So in this regard, guys, okay yung utang kasi nakakababa ng ano yan, kasi deductible yan eh. Nakakababa ng tax yan. Okay, so firms have tax savings. Aside from the fact, of course, guys, that importanteng credit capital, especially kung walang sufficient na funds yung company. Kung walang sufficient na funds, tapos may mga projects na very mataas yung returns, hindi na ako pwedeng sabihin ng company, ay, hindi natin maano kasi wala tayong pera ngayon. Meron namang credit, no? May credit. Aside from being able to exploit business opportunities with the use of other people's money, okay? Siyempre dapat sabi natin, dapat the return should be greater than the weighted average cost of capital. So credit is important. Yung pag-uutang, guys, debt is very important for a company for a lot of reasons. Okay, so yung 10,470 na to, okay, hindi lahat yan napupunta as advantage of NOPAT. Ang ano lang dyan, 40%, okay, mapupunta dun sa addition sa tax. 60% lang, guys, ang ano, 60% lang. Bakit 40% and 60% nga pala? Kasi ito yung tax rate in this case. So if the tax rate was 30%, then 30-70 yung ratio niyan. So, kunyari, tanong ko sa exam, 20,000 yung interest expense. Okay? By how much will NOPAT be greater than net income after tax if tax rate is 30%? Okay, so ano answer dyan, guys? So mas malaki si NOPAT kay net income after tax, not by 20,000, but only by, answer guys, how much ang lamang ni NOPAT kay net income after tax if the interest is 20,000 and the tax rate is 30%? Anyone please? Ilan yung lamang ni NOPAT? Anyone? Okay, ulitin ko yung example, guys, baka hindi nakuha yung example ko. So ang interest natin is 10,470. Okay? Sabi natin, would NOPAT then be greater than net income after tax by 10,470? Hindi. It will only be 1 minus tax rate. Okay? It will be greater than the interest times 1 minus tax rate. Kasi yung 40%, mababawas yun because of dun sa tax effects. No? So it will only be 1 minus tax rate times the interest expense. Okay? So by way of a quick example, if we're asked by how much will NOPAT be greater than net income after tax if the interest rate is 20,000 and the tax rate is 30%? Ilan, guys? Okay, answer, yes. Thank you, Pauline. Okay, it's 14,000, you're correct. Okay, kasi dapat 70% lang ng 20,000. Okay. Pause muna ako. Is that clear, guys? Clear ba? Yes or no, please? Yes means okay. No means ulitin ko yung explanation. Okay, thank you. Thank you. How about the rest, guys, please? Okay, salamat. Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys, for the overwhelming support. No? Yan. Thank you. Thank you sa lahat, guys. I won't have time to mention you individually, pero maraming salamat, no, for participating. Okay, parang sa 2019 din, guys, ang interest expense sa 2019, 8.6. Pero if we take a look at the difference sa NOPAT, 5,160 lang, which is 60% of yung 8.6 natin. Kasi yung 40%, guys, okay, parang nakabawas tayo dun sa net income after tax ng 3,440. So the total of this is 8,660. Okay, so to compute for the NOPAT, we can use this formula, yung sinabi ko sa inyo kanina. From your EBIT, you deduct yung 1 minus tax. So if the tax rate is 40%, so this means that 60% lang yung EBIT, okay, ng NOPAT natin. Okay, so we start with the EBIT. Para ma-drag natin yung formula, kunin natin dito. So EBIT is 99,200. So, actually, pwede natin idiretso dito, no? So it's equal to your EBIT multiplied by 1 minus, remember the tax rate natin? Yan. So very quickly, no? Hindi na natin kailangan ilagay yung tax rate dito. Diretso na. 1 minus tax rate. Okay, control enter. And then we can just copy this to the right. Okay. So, net operating profit after tax. Sabi natin, net operating profit after tax is yung measure ng profitability without the charge of interest. Bakit hindi natin sina-charge yung interest to get the NOPAT? Kasi nga guys, hindi naman responsible ang operations dyan, no? Para unfair naman, imagine kung EBIT natin 100,000. Tapos interest expense 1 million. Wala na. Pag in-assess na tayo, o sasabihin ng management, bakit negative yung ano nyo? Yung bottom line nyo, yung net income nyo, net profit nyo. And then ang reason, yung grabe interest expense. No? So, I hope you understand that. Unfair din sa operations to be assessed based on net income after tax, especially if the interest expense is huge due to borrowing by let's say the financing function. Okay, clear to guys? Clear? Clear yung NOPAT natin? Paki-chat nga, guys. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Okay, salamat guys sa responses. Appreciate that. Okay, let's now go here, guys. Okay, salamat. Salamat. Thank you, everyone. Free cash flow. Babalikan natin to NOPAT mamaya in a while, but let's just dapat pala inuna ko muna itong ROIC. Anyway, andito na tayo. So free cash flow, guys. Ano yung free cash flow? So let me write that. Sulat natin para then I'll send this file again to you. So what's free cash flow? Free, no? Cash flow. So this is cash flow available for distribution to investors. Available siya for distribution to investors. So after deducting, pagkatapos natin i-deduct cash flow requirements for operations. Okay? So yan, clear no guys? Free cash flow, as the name suggests, free. Bakit siya free? Free na for distribution. Distribution to whom? Investors. And again, clarify natin guys, sino yung mga investors natin? Diba, ang investors natin pwedeng, okay, ang investors natin pwedeng si shareholders, diba? Yung owners ng business, and si creditors, yung mga nagpapautang. Okay? Sila yung mga investors, and we said that free cash flow excuse me, is the amount of cash flow available for distribution sa mga investors natin. Pagkatapos, no, only after deducting cash flow requirements for operations. So let's identify some of the uses of cash flows. Since it's for distribution to shareholders, then ano yung gamit niya? Okay, interest payments, no? Kasi pang distribution sa ano sa share sa investors eh. Then principal payments. Principal payments. Kung saan ginagamit yung free cash flow. Number 3, dividend distribution. Okay? Number 4, ano to? So think about number 4 and number 5. Okay. So ito yung 5 primary use ng free cash flow, no? Pambayad ng interest. Remember, it's for investors. Principal payments, pagbabayaran na yung utang, no? Dividend distribution for shareholders. And then sometimes a company would buy back, sorry, nasabi ko tuloy. It was supposed to be a question for you. Anyway, nasabi ko na, no? Buy back shares. Ito na lang, ano yung TS yan, guys? Companies would sometimes buy back their shares, and there's a reason for that, no? Ano yung TS, guys? It is, anyone? What's another name for buying back the shares? It's called, okay, most probably hindi nyo pa namimit na, no? Kasi wala pa kayong ano, corporation accounting. So it's called treasury shares, guys. Okay? Treasury shares ang tawag dun sa shares of stocks which the company itself bought. Kunyari, if Jollibee buys its own shares from the market, then that's what we call treasury shares. Okay, so these are the 5 primary uses of free cash flow. Okay, interest payments, principal payments, dividend distribution, they buy back shares, and then for non-operating activities. All right, then how do we compute, guys, for free cash flow? Madali lang free cash flow. Ito lang yun, guys. No? So let's start with NOPAT from the operating profit. Okay, so gagamitin natin si operating profit, no, ng 2020. Okay, and then alamin natin magkano ba yung additional investment in total operating capital for 2020. Kasi sabi natin, by definition, ang free cash flow, we should remove, no? We should remove, okay? We should deduct yung cash flow requirements for operations. Okay, so let's do this. Ang NOPAT natin is 59,520. Okay, then, di ba kinumpute natin, guys, yung magkano yung kailangan natin additional investment in operating capital? Kasi at the start of the year, 630 yung operating capital. And then at the end of the year, 661. So there's a need, there's a 31.5 investment, additional investment in operating capital. So ibabawas natin dito yun, no? So this is equal to the difference between TOC 2020 and 2019. Therefore, ang free cash flow natin is the difference between this. Okay? So 28,020. That is the free cash flow. That's the amount available for distribution to investors in the form of interest payments, dividends, etc. Okay? Later on, guys, pag-uusapan pa natin tong free cash flow na to kasi napaka-importante nito. Oftentimes, this is also used in order to value the company. Kung magkano yung value ng company, minsan ginagamit tong free cash flow na to. Okay? Any questions so far, guys? Any questions? Clear ba yung ano natin? Clear yung free cash flow? Okay, thank you. Thank you. Salamat guys ha. Na-assure ako dun sa sa ginagawa natin na nakukuha nyo. Okay. Now we go to another very important measure. No, yung mga measures na to importante to, no? Okay, Roy, pakilagay nga yung share yung question mo. That's a very important question. Kindly share it to the class. Okay. Saan po nanggaling ang net investment in TOC? So balikan natin dito, no? So ito, that's C78 ito yun, no? Kanina, kinompute natin TOC ng 2020, ito yun. Tapos kinompute natin yung TOC ng 2019, ito. No? So yung difference na to, ibig sabihin nito, guys, kailangan natin ng additional investment in operating capital for 2020. Anong amount yun? 31,500. Okay, so this is now the, sabi natin, after deducting cash flow requirements for operations. Ito yun. Ito guys yung cash flow requirements for operations. Yun yung net investment in TOC. Okay, so minus natin sa NOPAT to arrive at your free cash flow. Okay, Roy, clear? Did that answer your question? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Roy. Okay, thank you for questions like that, guys. Salamat, Roy, for that question. I really appreciate you asking those questions, no? Kasi it comes from honesty, it comes from being in the moment, no? Tsaka magandang practice yan, guys, na clarify. All right? Okay, so babalikan natin, guys, si NOPAT, no? Itong NOPAT natin na 59520. Kasi very important yan eh. Kasi hindi na, 'di ba, hindi natin gagamitin yung we're not going to use net income after tax. Not net income after tax. No. Gagamitin natin another measure ng profitability, NOPAT. Okay? And this sounds a more fair assessment of the performance of the company. Kasi pag NOPAT, guys, sabi natin, hindi natin sinasama si interest, no? Kasi unfair naman na ikarga natin si interest to assess operations kasi wala naman silang control dito eh. The rest are their control. Sales, yung mga expenses, kontrolado nila yun, but not interest. Okay? So, tama lang guys, fair lang na fair lang na may gantong measure yung NOPAT. So, NOPAT is 59520. Tanong guys, ang tanong, is this okay? Is this okay? Yun ang $1 million question. Maganda ba yan? Okay? Kasi for example, guys, may company A tayo, may company B tayo. Si company A, ito, 59520. Si company B, ang NOPAT niya, 1 million. O, sino mas magaling? Sino mas magaling, guys? On the surface, sasabihin natin si B. 1 million kasi yung NOPAT niya. Si A, 59520 lang. Okay. So that's the problem now, guys. We're just looking at one figure. Okay. Hindi pa pwede yun. That's a wrong way to assess the performance of company A. Kasi, ang tanong natin, papasok dito yung concept ng operating capital. Magkano bang operating capital ang binigay sa kay company A? Okay. Question, guys, at the beginning of the year, January 1, 2020, how much operating capital was provided for company A by investors? Pakisagot nga, guys. Quickly, guys. Medyo we're running out of time. How much capital? Kanina, diniscuss natin yan, no? Magkanong capital ang binigay kay company A? Okay, it's there, guys. Andiyan yung answer niyan, ha? Kanina, dinidiscuss natin yun. Management was provided with this amount of capital. Okay, I'm still waiting for an answer, guys. How much capital, guys, was provided for management? Okay, 31,500. Kindly put your answer, guys, sa ano sa chat box ano. Guys, I'm still waiting for the answer. It's there, guys. It's there. The answer is there already. Magkano capital ang binigay sa ano sa management? How much? Ito, guys, di ba? Ito, yung TOC natin. Yan. Ito yung capital na binigay, di ba? Working capital at saka fixed assets. Okay, at the beginning of the year, there was 630,000 provided na capital. So let's just start at the beginning of the year. Parang sinasabi natin, okay, sa yung simula ng taon, may 630 kayo na capital, ha? And then throughout the year, nadagdagan lang ng 31,500 yun. Okay? Guys, you get the concept? Importante na intindihan natin to, guys. No? Management was provided with 630,000 na capital. Ito yung TOC natin. TOC at the beginning to, no? Beginning. So based on this TOC beginning, nakapag-generate ng profit si company A na 59,520 na NOPAT, no? NOPAT. Okay? So we're now trying to assess, okay ba itong performance na to, 59,520? Hindi ba mas magaling si B kasi naka 1 million siya na NOPAT? Mas magaling si B kung pareho lang yung TOC na binigay sa kanila. But if B was provided, let's say, with 10 billion, o 10 million na lang, no? O 10 billion, okay, to exaggerate this, no? 10 billion na total operating capital. Di, alam natin, guys, kung sino yung nag-perform ng mas maganda, di ba? So we do not just base it on comparing single value, NOPAT. Kaya nga ang ratio analysis, guys, we take a look at it holistically from different angles. Just saying that company A is better than company B kasi mas malaki net income after tax niya, that's totally wrong, guys. Hindi natin pa pwedeng i-extract yung number na yon and just say, mas malaki net income after tax niya, kaya mas magaling si company A, si company B. False yun, guys. Wrong. We have to look at it from a holistic picture. Okay, magkano bang operating capital ang binigay kay A? 630,000. Kay B, 10 billion. So sino mas magaling sa kanila? Diba? Obvious, diba? So that's why we have to look at measures like ROIC. Okay, so papasok na si ROIC dito, guys. ROIC is a measure of return on invested capital. Okay? So we just don't take a look at this. Hindi lang natin tinitingnan itong NOPAT na 5920. Titingnan din natin, magkano bang capital binigay sa kanila para ma-generate nila itong 5920. No? Okay? When we get this ratio, we get what we call return on invested capital. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so what was NOPAT? Kunin na lang natin dito. NOPAT was 59. What was TOC beginning? Okay, TOC beginning was 630, di ba? Yan. Now notice we didn't use ending. Okay? Others would use the average of the two. Okay? Yung iba ang gagamitin lang, kukunin lang yung average ng ending at saka beginning. For our purposes, let's just use beginning. No? Let's just use beginning capital. Okay? So therefore, our return on invested capital is simply yung NOPAT na generate natin out of the capital na binigay sa atin. Okay, so that's 9.45%. Okay, quick question guys. We're running out of time. Quick question. Para sa inyo guys, okay ba tong performance na to? Yes or no? Yes or no, please answer. For you, is this ROIC 9.45% fair enough? Is it good? Yes, if it's good. No, if it's not good. Okay lang. Thank you, Khalil. Fine. Roy, thank you. Kai, thank you. Okay. Hans, could be better. Thank you. Soriel, yes, thank you. Okay, the rest, guys, para sa inyo ba, okay itong 9.45 na, ano, na performance ito? Theo, thank you. Yes, okay. All right. May iba pa? A few more seconds, guys, before we discuss further. Jasper, salamat. Yes. Ninya, yes, thank you. Okay. So, most of you answered yes, na? May nag-answer na could be better. Okay, fine yung iba. Okay, good. Thank you for your answers, guys. Pero of course, you were coming from a basis, no? So let's see. Jasper, bakit yes yung ano mo? For you, can you unmute yourself and share with the class why did you arrive at that answer kung bakit yes?
Para po sa akin kasi parang mataas po yung 9.45%.
Yeah, good. Thank you. 9.45% for Jasper. That's high, no? That's good. Thank you so much. Ikaw, Ninya, how about you?
Sir, same with Jasper po.
Okay.
Parang okay na rin po yung 9.45.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. So I think si Hans could be better. Bakit could be better, Hans?
Sir, just from my understanding na po. Pero sir, I think without further context pa, sir,
Yeah.
I cannot say fully na this is the best. Pero okay naman po siya, sir, kasi at least it's a decent percentage of return. Pero I think mas maganda if mas higher.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Great answers, guys. Thank you so much for your shares, no? I really appreciate that. So may sinabi si I like what Hans mentioned a while ago, sinabi niyang context, no? Yeah, that's very important kasi ang hirap nang sabihin to, 9.45, ano yung basis natin, di ba? Paano natin masasabi na, so if we were, kunyari, 20 executive officers tayo, mga C-suite, yung sinasabi natin dati. Tapos, present yan sa executive officers. You'll have 20 different answers, no? Kasi 9.45%, for some, it's very good. For some, oops, ang pangit niya, no? Ang baba. So, I like your answers, guys. They're correct in their own way. But let me just, again, zoom in on what Hans said a while ago, yung context. Kasi guys, tama eh. Dapat may context to. Ano yung context natin? Actually, alam nyo answer dito, guys, kasi na-discuss na natin. So this ROIC will only be acceptable if it's what? If it's greater than? So ito na yung context. You know the answer here, guys. Greater than what? We have discussed this several times before. Yan. I think tama na itong answer na to. Yun! Okay. Thank you, guys. Salamat. You hit the nail right on the head, no? So it should be greater than the hurdle rate, no? So any decision, guys, any decision if it's okay or not, should be greater than your WACC. Yan. So may context na tayo ngayon. Hindi na tayo magsasabi na, ay, okay yan kasi ganito. Very subjective yon. Now, basing it on objective measures, the ROIC has to be greater than WACC. Now, may sinabi dito, guys, ang assumption dito, WACC was 8% yan. Kita nyo sa ilalim, no? WACC was 8%. Therefore, is this performance does it create value for the shareholders? Answer is yes. Kasi mas mataas siya kaysa sa WACC na 8%. 9.45% is greater than 8%. Okay? And just this last measure, guys, before we call it a day, I only have 3 minutes. Related to ROIC is this measure called WACC. So the EVA, no? EVA, economic value added. Ano to economic value added na to? So let me just illustrate this. So merong profit, ito yung tinitingnan natin. Okay ba tong profit na to? Yung NOPAT ng company? We cannot say outright, no? Bakit? Kasi binigyan sila ng TOC, di ba? Magkano yung TOC? At the beginning ng gamitin natin, 630. NOPAT natin, 59,520 ba yun? Okay? Question, itong TOC ba na to, libre yan? Is that free, guys? Does that come with a free lunch? As a free lunch ba to? Tell me, guys, sino nag-provide din itong 630? Investors. Libre ba yung 630 na yan? Guys? Answer is, guys, no. Hindi pa pwedeng libre yan. Nobody will invest na, sige, ano ko yan, parang, unless talagang philanthropist na nagbibigay ka ng, ng capital and then don't expect anything in return or don't get back anything in return. Okay, that's more an abnormal situation, no? Okay, so ito guys, meron tayong tinatawag na from the perspective of the donation yun, no? From the perspective of the investor, meron tayong tinatawag na okay, ano to guys? It's time guys, may I have 1 minute guys, last 1 minute. Okay lang ba? 1 minute extension. Yan. Thank you so much. I'm expecting na yes yan guys. Hindi ko natitingnan. Kasi yan. Ano tong OC guys? Ano yung OC? It's called opportunity cost. Okay, doon sa mga investors, yung nagbigay ng 630 at the beginning of the year, may opportunity cost yan. So ang gagawin natin, i-charge natin. We're going to charge management with the use of this. Diba? Anong charge natin? I-charge natin siya ng WACC. Yung 8%. So we're saying to management, oy, ito gagamitin yung 630 pero hindi libre yan. Okay? We're going to charge you with the use of that capital. Okay. So ang gagawin natin, yung NOPAT na 59,520, okay, i-net natin guys, i-minus natin yung cost of the use of operating capital. So ito yung nangyayari guys, yung economic value added. Okay, let's do that now quickly. NOPAT natin is equal to 59,520. Okay. Beginning capital is 630. Okay. 630 times. Okay. Magbabiolate ako ng rule ko ngayon guys. Dapat meron tayong cell. Ito pala. Times WACC. No? Times WACC. Okay. So ano tong 5,400 na to? Ito yung cost guys sa paggamit ng capital. Remember, hindi libre guys yung paggamit ng capital, no? It's not free. So we're charging management with 50,400 for the use of the 630. Okay? And then, therefore, our economic value added is 9,120. Is this good or bad? This is good. If EVA is positive, then value was created. Okay? So remember that guys. Pag EVA is positive, EVA greater than 0, then value is created. If EVA is negative, then value was destroyed. Okay? And always, ROIC will always be consistent with EVA. Dito ROIC, okay tayo, no? Kasi greater than WACC to. Then, if we compute for the EVA, it will always be consistent. If ROIC is greater than WACC, then EVA will always be positive. Okay? All right? So, end ko muna yung recording.